Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week, or another month, or another whatever it is, of Wild and Wacky Chit Chats with the twins. I am Krista, and this is season 2, episode 30, and I do believe the last time we came on here was in July. And you know, I've made myself really wrong at times for that choice. But you know, like, it was interesting because we did ask, Kara and I. We came on every week we talked about it. And we were just like, do you want to do the show today? Do you want to do the show today? No, I don't want to do the show today. And you know, you're like, well, can we do that? Can we choose that? Like, we're supposed to. We told everyone we're gonna. Like, can we do that? You know what? It felt light. So we didn't. And then the next week would come. And then the next week would come. And then the next week would come. And it always felt light not to. Until I was inspired to right now. So, I believe I called this week's episode, Does Life Have to Be So Hard? Or What If Life Doesn't Have to Be So Hard? I can't remember what I called it. Hey, Louie! And that's wherein lies the freedom, is that question. Like, what else is possible here? I know, right? I just was inspired by taking the time to quiet my mind. And so it's like, if you didn't have to go into your head about whatever it is, like Kara and I doing the show or not doing the show, like, what do you already know? And would you allow yourself to trust yourself that you know what you know? So what do you know that you're pretending not to know? That if you would allow yourself to know it, would bring you total freedom. So we have this, Kara and I have this private group called La Resistance, and we do 30-day challenges, and we take a question, and we learn this from an access consciousness facilitator, who access consciousness is basically like a bunch of questions, which they call tools, that allow you to get present with yourself and question yourself and, you know, see where you've been functioning from. And we have created hard lives. Things have to be hard. You have to do things a certain way. You have to fit in. You have to. We have needs. You know, we don't have a choice. We live in this no-choice universe. We live in these boxes. We live in a box called this reality, and you aren't allowed to step outside the box. You are supposed to fit into your neat little tidy box called you. And so in order to stay in that box, because deep down you kind of want to like check on what else is out there, and see what else is available and what fun awaits you. But you can't do that because you have to fit into the box. And so what you do is you make stories to justify why you're staying in this little box. Like, I want to be here. I have to be here because that's what you do. And that's how I was raised, and if I don't do that, then I'm very wrong. Like, you can't do that. Like, how many times have you told yourself, hiya, mummers, that you just can't have a certain thing. You can't do certain things because. And then following the because is all of your stories. And ultimately what it is because you're not allowed to step outside the box. But here's the thing, you didn't know you had another choice because we were never taught that. So, you know, if this is like, you know, sticking you in any way, it's not wrong. Like, if you if you're comfortable staying in the box and it works for you, how can it be wrong? But then you get some greater awareness, or what you're choosing just really isn't working anymore, then you can make another choice. So if you've had like this agonizing need to do something different, or you just know that there is something else possible out there, what do you know that you're pretending not to know, that if you would allow yourself to know it, would invite total freedom into your world, where you could be and have and choose whatever it is that lights you up. Whatever that is for you. So, how can we do this? This is why innovation leaders and great thinkers so often come from a background of being outsiders, right? They were willing to step outside of the box. And were they met with resistance? I'm sure quite a lot. And did people think they were freaks and they were wrong and like they should be stopped? We should control them into not being like us. But they did it anyways. They didn't seek the validation from others because they trusted themselves. They trusted the choices they were making. They trusted their gut instincts, that knowing that something else was possible, and they went after it. And then we all caught up and were like, oh, actually, I guess that was a good idea, but we didn't know we could do anything different than what was going on already. It's like when all of a sudden this just isn't working for you anymore. So where do you even begin? Where does one even begin to have an easier life, to invite freedom, to not have to have it so hard and to suffer? I know, Kara, I was inspired to come on here. It's been a long while since we've been on here for Wild and Wacky Chit Chats, and today is the day to hang out with you fine people and just to invite you to a different possibility. So, where does one begin? Receiving. And I talked about this in our group this morning, in our private group. Receiving. What does that even mean? Well, it's different for all of us, but what does your body require of you? Are you someone that could sit and meditate quietly and just receive? Just practice receiving all the information from all around you, 360 degrees around you. So even if you could humor me for a moment, if you have time, if not, come back and do this. But just close your eyes and take a big breath and get out of your head. Go into your body and expand out in every direction, beyond the room you're sitting in, beyond the town you're in, beyond the country, beyond the continent, beyond planet Earth. Go beyond that and tap into everything that this abundant universe has to offer you all the time. Your body is always receiving this information. Always. And what we tend to do is jump to a conclusion about it. It must be this. This is my pain. Instead of questioning, body, what are you aware of? So, body, what are you aware of right now? Just take note to what's happening in your body. You might feel pain somewhere. You might feel a little, anxiety. There might be something that I'm saying that's triggering you. What is that? What is this awareness? What do you know that you are pretending not to know? And dive into that. And question it and explode it. Become this space between all of those molecules of all these bubbling, boiling points of views and what you should know and what you're supposed to choose. So sorry about that. If we could take the time to, however that looks, be it meditating, be it taking a nice long walk, or, having someone give you a massage, or taking a nice cozy nap, sitting out in the sunshine, whatever that is, staring at an ocean, looking at the sunset, looking at the stars, something that just allows you to receive the beauty and receive all of this information from all around you. When you can quiet your mind, you will find simplicity. You will start to trust you, and you will know what you should choose next. And just because you have that awareness, it is only good for that 10 seconds. I will say that. So if you get an awareness that this is what is required next, that doesn't mean if you end up then procrastinating and think I'll do it later, that is still going to be what you should do. You need to stay in question and ask, because your awareness is only good for 10 seconds. So allow yourself just a little bit of time to just quiet the mind and listen. Just shut up for a minute and listen. We're so busy in our head trying to get it right and telling ourselves what we have to do and bossing ourselves around, even though something doesn't feel right, even though we know it's not really what we should do, but we have to do it and we're supposed to do it. We're so busy up in our head trying to get it right that we're missing these whispers, these subtle signs of what's next, And it takes courage to do that. It takes courage to take time for yourself. It's not really something, it's changing, right? Obviously it's changing a lot, but we're not taught to take time for ourselves because it's selfish. And you've got all these other things to do. What are you doing sitting around, meditating? Don't you have better things to do? Shouldn't you be up in your head trying to get it right? And, those things that, when we're stuck in our head, it makes us way less efficient. It slows us down. And it actually can lead into, weeks and months and years of distraction, and resulting in pain in our body, disease in our body, these mentally crippling diseases, hospitalization. It's so hard on our bodies, and our bodies are what's actually trying to tell us what we're aware of. But we are just go into our head instead of, what do I know here? What am I aware of? And so it takes courage to receive. And you might be met with resistance and people might think you're wrong, but do you require the validation of others? Because only you know what you know. Only you know what's best for you. Nobody else does. A lot of people think they do, and I think I do about a lot of other people. I can be a total control freak and pull my superiority over people. I know what's best from you, but it's not real. What do you know? What do you know? This is where I really invite you to be courageous and start becoming aware of all the stories of why you can't have what you truly desire. And we are in a 30-day challenge, which we're halfway through, but that so doesn't matter. You can join us at any time. I'll put the link here. And our question is, if I wasn't the story, who would I be? If I wasn't the story of me, who would I be? And we got stories. We got stories about everything. And you might not think you do, but start to look at that today. When you find yourself saying, oh, like I could do this, but if you notice that, and it does take practice, and it doesn't happen overnight because we've been living this way for a long time and we've never been taught anything otherwise. Just give yourself a minute. And you might be like, oh, I keep getting it wrong. I keep not choosing this. Well, if you think you should be choosing something else and you keep not choosing what you think you should be choosing, then just acknowledge and become aware that what you do keep choosing so far has been working for you. That's why you keep choosing it. And when then it just like becomes too much, you're bored with it, you're done with it, you are ready to make a new demand of yourself, you will start noticing those places and calling yourself out on these stories and lies and excuses that you have been telling yourself because you're too afraid to see how potent you truly are, because we are that potent. But we don't want to know that. And that's not wrong. And when you're ready to know it, then you will. You will choose differently. So, what would it be like to quiet the mind and actually to even allow life to be that simple? Like, how many stories do we have that it can't be? It can't be that easy. Then it isn't. Until you want to choose something different, and then it is. Like, nothing is actually real. You could have 5 people that all experience the same thing, but their whole reality is completely different about it. Well, how can that be? Because nothing is real. Nothing is real. Nothing is real. Nothing is real. It is all based on our point of view. That's it. And all of those points of views we have are what we have chosen and what we have made real and what we have created so that we can live in this box, so that we can be this person with these friends and these kids and this job and this amount of money and this amount of happiness and just this amount of freedom and this amount of suffering and this amount of hardship, and on and on and on. And all of those are stories that we have made real and true for us so that we can be who we think we're supposed to be, so that we're right and not wrong. So here's my invitation. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be free? Good morning, Leanne. And I know that question's in your world too. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be free? It's your choice. It is a choice. And if you just don't even know where to begin, start with knowing. What do you know? I just turn the question around. What do you know? If you're like, I don't know what to do. Really? Is that actually true? What do you know that you're pretending not to know, that if you would allow yourself to know it, would give you total freedom? And of course, you are all invited to join Kara and I in our private group La Resistance and in our 30-day challenge, which we're doing right now. If I wasn't the story, who would I be? Like, who would you be? Who would you be if you were beyond the box, beyond the stories? I truly wonder. Leanne said, I was just getting worked up about some things and look who popped into my life. Can't make that shit up. Clear message. Calm the hell down, Leanne. How magical are you? And that's the thing too. Like, once you start asking for things to make your life easier, they do show up. All you have to do is stay out of your head and receive and question everything that is showing up. Question everything that is is this what I've been asking for showing up how I did not expect? And listen to the whispers, those subtle signs. And receive. Thank you so much for joining me in another week of Wild and Wacky Chit Chats with the twins. Please, if you aren't in our group La Resistance, come and join us. Come and change your story, and let's have some fun. And I will see you all another day. Bye for now.